Cancel.
Sweezy.
Move, bitch, get out of my fucking way. It's Black History Month.
It is Black History Month, so in honor of Black History Month, I have decided that we need to talk about Percy Jackson and the Olympians on Disney+. Because nothing says Black History Month like a fictional story involving Greek gods, you know. There are black people in the show, though, so I want to talk about it. I never read the Percy Jackson books. I was kind of, I don't know, those 2000 movies, even though they did have Alexandria Daddario, who, she's just too, you know, like, she's one of those, like, ladies who are just too pretty for their own good, you know. She's a good actress, you know. She's good. She's great. Yeah, I remember that. I remember she was in that, but other than that, yeah, though, I remember the 2000 ones, and it was just not good. And apparently, I am not alone in that assessment. There have been many people who are like, yeah, they just missed it, you know, because I don't, you know, because it's a book to movie it's a movie adaptation of a book. So, like, obviously things have to change, because in a book you could just say what's, you know, what it looks like, describe it, but when you get to like a film or whatever, you have to show it, you know. So a lot of things are said and show it. So that's why some adaptations are not the best. Sometimes, like, an adaptation like The Shining is good, but it does not do justice to the source material. One thing I heard going into this, when they kind of greenlit everything in the first trailer, is what I was told is that it would be that the author of it was like Rick Riordan. He was like, they got this shit right, and they cast Percy. It was the kid who played young Ryan Reynolds in that one movie. I think that was him, and like, yeah, that kid's great. He's a good. He saw actually all the kid acting in this show. I actually generally thought it wasn't that bad. And by not that bad is I wasn't distracted by it. So it could have been bad. I don't know, but I wasn't distracted by it. So it was good. But yeah, apparently it did justice to the source material. Everyone's saying it's like good justice to the source material and stuff like that. And yeah, I've always been interested, and I was like, I don't really want to I'm just going to wait till the show, and then if I want to get into the books, I will. AKA, I'm going to watch a couple videos of like book versus show adaptation, you know, like the differences between the two. And then you get to learn like a little bit more details about it, because something, like I said, like in a movie or film, TV show adaptation, something like that, a lot of things that are described in the book have to be shown. And so, like, what I knew going in, it was like, these are all these kids that are like children of Greek gods, and then, you know, Percy's the son of Poseidon, king of Half-Blood. That's like what I kind of knew going in. Basically just like a sales pitch of the story to me. I'm like, I mean, this sounds really cool. So obviously, like, it's a really cool concept of an idea. But yeah, let's look at the show. Let's go episode by episode, and you know,
Let's just jump into it.
And let's just talk about each episode. I'll like summarize it. Let's see how much we could talk about in 30 minutes. So the first one, I accidentally vaporized my pre-algebra teacher. So like, we're introduced to Percy Jackson. Percy's like, I'm different. Apparently I see shit, and weird shit happens to me all the time, and I can't explain it. And no one explains it, you know. For the most part, no one explains, you know. Till the last minute, Percy gets to know his like origin story. You know, he has a crippled Latin teacher who's apparently a centaur, you know, apparently in the magic wheelchair. You know, it's like, I don't know, man. I would not want to be disabled if I was, you know. I don't know, man. If I can walk, and I don't know. That's you know. Yeah, at the beginning of it, he was like, oh no, his other Latin teacher or whatever, like, she like tries to attack him, and he kills her with his like magic sword thing, or pen sword, you know, that the teacher gave him, and then he pushes a girl into the fountain who's been like annoying him, and I'm like, she deserved it. I would have done more, but yeah, she deserved it. And then he gets expelled, and like, yeah, his friend Grover, who we're gonna get back into in a little bit, fucking rats him out. I'm like, you goddamn piece of shit. I was so fucking mad. I'm like, fuck the Grover, fuck that guy. And then And then eventually he goes on a trip with his hot mom. Thank you, Disney. First of all, thank you. Casting a hot mom, and I don't know if she has kids. The actress has kids. She's like 40. She was born in 81. So it's like the idea is like, oh, she realistically could be a mom. And so that's nice because a lot of times they'll like hire like women way younger than the role they're supposed to be, but men who are older can play younger, you know, crazy shit like that. But they actually age appropriate, and she was hot, you know. Thank you, Disney. You listened and we replied. Age appropriate hot moms. Like that's all, you know, like especially in kids content because parents are watching this shit with their kids. You know, if you're making a kids show, you know, I'm not saying to make it for adults, but I'm just saying make the mom hot, you know. We all want to see it, and guess what? There are plenty of hot moms out there you can cast. There are a million hot moms you can be that are actresses, you know. You can hire all them. So eventually, you know, they go, you know, they have his mom at the very last minute. It's like, Percy, you're a demigod. That means you're half Greek god, half of your hot mom. And last minute, and then we find out that fucking Grover is a satyr, and they're attacked by a minotaur, and like his mom gets dusted like Thanos, and I was so fucking pissed when I saw the mom get dusted. I'm like, fuck this show. And then I'm like, but then, you know, I remembered in my little TV tropes that like, if you don't see a dead body, they're not dead, you know? And I didn't see it. I'm like, she's still alive. I know she's still alive. Come on. Hot mom, hot mom, hot mom. Sally Jackson is a hot mom. And then we're on to episode 2. Percy is at Camp Half-Blood. Now, the thing, what makes Camp Half-Blood so special, it is a camp. But also, this area, like, monsters can't enter this area. Because apparently, I can't just fucking say it. I have to use a sound drop. Because apparently all these monsters just want to fucking murder demigod, like children of God. They just want to murder all of them. That's all they want to do. They just want to murder. No reason. These kids didn't do shit. I would be so mad. I'm like, okay, so my dad's a dick. My dad I've never met in my life is a dick. And now they're all trying to kill me. Okay, I'm like, this is not fair. I'm like, hey guys, go after my dad. I'm not part of this problem, you know? Percy doesn't know who his dad is, though. So he's like, you're a demigod. We don't know who's your dad, though. I'm like, what? Like, it's like they had, like, was it Mr. or Chiron? Is Mr. Brunner, I'll say Chiron from now on, but, like, Chiron's been, like, there protecting him. Grover's been protecting him. Grover's not been doing a very good job, by the way. Grover kind of sucks, and I'm not blaming the actor, because the actor doesn't suck. He just played a character that sucked. Different from Grandpa Joe. And so he gets sent to Hermes' cabin, because Hermes' cabin is, like, he'll like, oh, my children can be here, but, you know, if you don't know your parents, yeah, you can stay here, too. Hermes is the one that's not a dick, but he is kind of a dick when you get to him in the episode. So Hermes' cabin, like, half of it's unclaimed, half of them claimed and shit like that. Then... was it God of War? Who is fucking the God of War? It's not her. Who the fuck is? Okay, now wait. I know this. Who's the fucking Ares? That's it. So like, yeah. Ares kids are a bunch of assholes, you know. The monsters should kill those kids. I'm just saying, let's kill the God of War's kids, you know. They all want to go after Percy, and then he uses, like, toilet water power to repel them, and none of the kids are like, I wonder what Greek god he is a kid of, because he's unclaimed, but he has magical water powers. No one knows who his dad is. There's no specific Greek god about water. There's none of them. No one knows still. And then eventually, you know, they play capture the flag, and then Poseidon finally claims, you know, Percy as his kid. Finally, after like 13 years, he finally claims his kid. And then, yeah, it's a pretty big deal after a couple situations of having magical water powers. Everyone's like, oh, that's Poseidon's kid? No shit. No shit. the moment you see him using water powers and you're like, he doesn't know which Greek god is his dad. I'm like, okay. But after you find out, like, Percy's dad is Poseidon, you're curious about, like, his stepdad, Gabe, you know? Because for some reason he has a stepdad, which I'm just curious, like, how do you go from Poseidon, the god of the sea, to Gabe, a degenerate gambler, unemployed too. His job is gambling. That's his job. Like, my job is gambling. I'm like, you know, it would make more sense to just sell pictures of your feet. You know, than playing games of, like, luck and chance and some, you know, like, I know it requires skill to do that, but there's a little bit of luck and chance and, you know, shit like that. But apparently, after finding out it's Poseidon's son, everyone's like, oh yeah, you know, Zeus thought you stole his thunderbolt. And you're like, you know, he didn't even know who his dad was. Like, clearly they could probably communicate with Zeus. Hey, Zeus, he didn't steal your lightning bolt, okay? That would have been easy thing, but they're Greek gods, so they're fucking stupid. So they're like, yeah, but Percy, you can't fly across the country. Somehow all these Greek gods live in America now, too, for some fucking reason. They're like, all right, Percy, you have to go into the underworld. It's in Los Angeles. We're like in New York, somewhere, like maybe upstate New York. Sounds correct. You know, like it sounds like correct. It's like correct or whatever. It was like in Los Angeles, but you can't fly, so you have to take the bus, and everyone's attacking them on the bus and shit. You know, so they have to go to the underworld, get Zeus's lightning bolt, and then also save his mom because his mom's in the underworld right now too. So obviously we got to save the mom. I'll be like, we're gonna save Percy. I'm like, fuck Zeus's thunderbolt. I'm gonna save your. I would save his mom too. Dude, I would say Percy's mom. So he takes Annabelle, and for some reason he picks fucking Grover to go with him too. Or whatever. And then there was like a prophecy. They were like, oh, one of your friends is going to betray you. And I'm like, that's going to be fucking Grover for sure, dude. That dude's a fucking pussy. He ain't no ride or die.
First of all, ride or die, bitch.
So they start on their little journey to get find Zeus's master bolt, you know, because I think Hades is starting some shit or whatever. Whatever. So they make it to New Jersey for some reason. They run into Medusa, and yeah, does it make sense that Medusa lives in New Jersey? I mean, kind of, yeah. It makes it funny. Like, don't go to New Jersey, guys. Why? That's where Medusa lives, and shit like that. So they have a little thing with Medusa. They have a whole thing. Medusa's kind of hot though, so you know, minus the fact that you're turning to stone. I feel like you're not going to get. Sounds like you're just going to get scammed if you trying to hook up with Medusa. And actually, yeah, they do go, and it's weird because they're trying to, it was like, Medusa was like, you know, I'm actually a good person, because like the story of Medusa, and she was like in love with someone, and then Athena was like, fuck you, and then cursed her, you know? And like Medusa, like that's the part of the story of Medusa. Like, she did nothing wrong, but she's also like, don't look at her too. Like that, you know? She's like that. What happens is, they put Annabeth's magic invisible hat, which is way too overpowered. Dude, like, it's way too overpowered. And then they, like, cut her head off, and then they use her head to turn some demon into stone or whatever, and then they mail Medusa's head to fucking Mount Olympus, which is the top of the Empire State Building for some reason, you know. And oh yeah, and then you find out Hermes is played by fucking Lin-Manuel Miranda, and you're just like, I liked Hamilton, but I don't want too much of this guy, you know. And so, anyways, though, after Medusa's funhouse, Percy, Annabeth, my favorite fucking episode 4. So Percy, Annabeth, and Grover, they're on the train going to Los Angeles, and then obviously there's a chimera, you know, poisons Percy, and then they get into a fight, and then he falls through the. It's just funny. They're on a train. They're like, "Oh my gosh, we're getting under attack. Let's get to safety," and their safety is downtown St. Louis. Just if you don't know downtown St. Louis, best thing I could say is. Possibly a very dangerous place. Can be a very dangerous place. You just gotta, first of all, don't show people you're afraid. I just think it's funny, like, where are we gonna go to the safety fucking downtown St. Louis? And then, you know, they're fighting. And then he falls, like, you know, straight out of the top of the arch. And then he lands in the Mississippi River. I think it's like the delta where Mississippi and Missouri meet. So I always thought it was that, but apparently it's straight up the Mississippi where he fell into. Apparently in the book, they got this wrong where like he falls straight under, the arch and then lands directly in the water, which if you've been to the arch, that's not where the river is. So at least in the show, I think they had to like water hand grabbed him and threw him in the water. Then he was able to heal from the poison and then they're on their way. I just thought it was hilarious that they're like, we need to get to safety downtown St. Louis. And be like, we need to get to safety. Let's go to Baltimore, Maryland. Just like where everyone wants to kill you for no reason. And then, Poseidon saves him. He's like, all right, we need to meet in Santa Monica later, and that's gonna come up later. Now then we're moving on to episode 5. They run into Ares. And Ares is like, I need my shield back. Can you get me a shield and I'll get you to Los Angeles? They're like, okay. So they go, and then there's like the magic chair or whatever. It was Hephaestus's magic chair that you sit in it and you turn to gold stone thing, and that way they get the shield. But then Hephaestus is like, can I have Percy back? And he's like, sure. And then Percy's back alive. I'm like, he's like, Percy's always like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself, but he's the main character of this entire series. I'm like, unless we're getting near an ending or some sort, like, he's not going to die. Like, he's not going to die. And so they get the shield and they come back and you make the trade. But when they get to Las Vegas because, like, oh, no, they have to go to Vegas, convince Hermes to get them the rest of the way there. And so, especially that episode. But you're like, I think Ares is up to something. The god of war, you're like, he's probably up to some shit, So, yeah, eventually they get to Vegas, okay? So they go to Vegas. And they run into Lin-Manuel Miranda. But if you remember in, like, the Odyssey, like, the lotus flowers, I guess they're trying to make it that way. Like, where, like, you lose track of time and shit like that, and you're there longer than you are. But the way, like, they pump that air into a Las Vegas casino, because I guess the joke is, like, in Vegas, time just goes by really quickly, and, like, casinos don't have windows, so you don't lose, so that your perception of time is gone, so you spend more money. It's just... I can't blame them. It's just a business strategy, they have to find him, and Grover's almost fucking chasing little Peter Pan over here, like fucking video games addicted and forgetting everything he's supposed to be doing and shit like that. Eventually, they kind of convince Hermes to let them use his car, and he's like, and shit like that, and it's like, it'll work. It'll take you anywhere you want to go after you get out of the fucking parking garage. And then they get, after that funny little scene, they get out of the parking garage, they make it, but they know a couple days have passed. So by the time they get to fucking Santa Monica, Poseidon's like, oh yeah, you arrived too late, sorry. I'm like, bro, Poseidon said he can't meet you here because you guys were late. And you're like, I don't know, man. If I was a dad, I'd probably make time for my kids. That's just me, though. They're trying to make, like, Poseidon, like, a really good guy, but, like, isn't Poseidon known for being a fucking shit, I don't know. So Percy, okay, so my notes. Percy learns from Nereid that his quest deadline has passed, and yeah, that's his little assistant. Prepare for war, because apparently if he didn't return the Thunderbolt, he was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, Poseidon, even though you're like, who would steal my Thunderbolt? My brother, Poseidon or Hades? I'm like, doesn't Hades always doing shit, He's always starting shit. Anyways, though, he gets like 4 pearls, and that's how you escape the underworld, is with pearls. So 3 for the main characters, and then, 1 for the hot mom. So then, now we're going into the underworld. We make it. It's in a fucking waterbed store. It's just in a fucking... it's in a waterbed store. That's where the entrance to the underworld is. It's just a fucking waterbed store. Which, the water, are there still, like, full-ass stores dedicated to waterbeds? Like, I know, like, I bet some furniture stores still have waterbeds, but, like, I don't think it's, like, their main selling point. Oh, yeah, and then, Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, they have to run away from that thing, and fucking Grover gets eaten and loses his goddamn pearl, because it's fucking Grover. It's fucking Grover. They eventually make it. Oh yeah, and this weird thing, there's like this weird pit they almost fall into, and Grover's wearing the magic shoes that help him fly. He got from Luke, and then once it goes away, it turns back into the Master Bolt or whatever, and shit like that. It turns back into that shit. And they're like, huh, that's weird, Then they get to Hades' palace, and Hades offers a deal because he needs like his helm, which is just a helmet or whatever. So Percy has to just fucking, and Percy realizes it was Kronos all along.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And so, yeah, they get to the beach, and then they're just fucking going at it. I think they're getting ready to go at it. And then we get to episode 8, the final episode here. We're finally at the end of it. So Percy just whoops Ares, the shit out of him, gets the helmet. Gets the helmet to, Hades, and he's like, you better fucking honor our deal. And he does. He does honor his deal. So that's cool. And then I guess the shit. So now they have to find Zeus, and so Zeus is playing for war because he needs his bolt back. So like they eventually go to the Empire State Building, and then he just like drops Master Bolt and like, let me see Zeus, and then they go see Zeus. And then Zeus is black, by the way, which is, I mean, like, is fine. I don't mind him. I don't mind Black Zeus, but it's just weird that it's kind of like his other two siblings, because it's like Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, but like Poseidon and Hades are white, and then Zeus is black. So I mean, I don't know how genetics work for gods and shit like that, but Zeus is black, by the way, so it kind of throws you off a little bit. It's not that bad, but Poseidon's just like, hey, let's pretend we fought and I lost, and I'll just surrender or whatever, or whatever. So Zeus agrees to that because obviously it's like it's not our fault. It's this is a Kronos problem. Kronos is coming at us, and so we got to get ready for Kronos. He's the real bad guy. So he goes back to Camp Half-Blood, and then eventually we found out the friend that was getting ready to betray Percy, it was Luke all along. So yeah, after Luke leaves or whatever, and then they're like, War with Kronos is coming. Let's meet back in a year, gang. And so Percy gets to go back, live with his hot mom, and the day is saved. The quest is complete. The day is saved, except Kronos is still coming. And then in a mid-credit scene, Gabe gets turned to stone by Medusa. And I don't know, shit like that just freaks me out, It's like, I guess Gabe is dead now, unless they figure out a way to unstone people or whatever. And that is Percy Jackson, season 1. I guess hopefully they're gonna continue adapting the books. And this was supposed to be an adaptation of The Lightning Thief. That's what I was trying to remember. And apparently kids at the school I was working at were reading The Lightning Thief too. And they're not reading it, so they don't know what dyslexia, because they didn't know what dyslexia or hyperactive was. But yeah, that was Percy Jackson. Overall, great show. Solid. Apparently a great adaptation. But I still have some nitpicks to go over. First of all, I thought Grover was going to betray Percy 100%. I was like, fuck, because that guy, he sold Percy out like beginning of the show. And just, I'm like, fuck you, Grover. I would not do that. If I was Grover, what I would have done in that situation would be like, I didn't see it. I would have just been denied seeing it. Can't start shit, whatever. Yeah, so, obviously it makes sense. I think the good adaptation, because I remember the old movies, it was like Percy was like a 17-year-old, and he has to be 13. Like, that's what he is in the book. And it makes more sense having 13. It would be like doing, like, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, basically, but Harry's 17. He's, like, going to his first year of Hogwarts. I'm like, it doesn't make sense, because they're supposed to be little kids going on a little adventure, and then they get older, and that's, the whole point. Like, they're in school, like, obviously. So I thought this was way better than that. That makes way more sense. And so definitely know that, and they got the characters right and shit like that too. My biggest thing, if I was in Percy's shoes, because everything has to come back to me, is that after all these gods are having their dispute, I'm like, leave me out of your goddamn problems. I'm not a part of this, you know? Like, tell the monsters to go away, and then be like, tell them I'm out. I'm not with you guys. I'm like, I'm out. I'm just gonna live a normal life, a little dyslexic, I'm gonna learn how to read, and then I'm gonna live my life. Like, leave me the fuck alone, dude, for real. Zeus, leave me out of your goddamn personal. First of all, no one knew I existed, and then all of a sudden they knew I existed. And you're like, you stole it, didn't you? I'm like, what? Are you accusing him of shit? You know that he didn't do. Like, come on, Zeus. Like, you know better. Also, I'm curious to the question: can you kill gods in this world? Obviously, I know they're powerful, but you know, and the gods are like. Remember, like, gods have to follow rules or whatever. Like, that's the thing. And then, like, demigods don't have to follow the rules. So it's like, if demigods don't have to follow rules. There's a rule they can probably kill the gods. I'm like, you know how much problems would be solved if they just killed Zeus? Like, Zeus, like, you know, if you read those old stories, you know, I'm like, Zeus is kind of a dick and an asshole. Like, if you killed Zeus, you just kill all of them. Like, they're not doing good in the world. They're making the world an entire worse place. If I was in that world, I'd be fucking Gore the God Butcher, just fucking slitting necks, and like I saw fucking Lin-Manuel Miranda, I'm just slit his neck. No, I like him. I don't know him. I don't know. But yeah, you would see me. But I think the moral of this story is if you're a Greek god listening to this show, keep it in your fucking pants, okay? You're like the International House of Prayer in Kansas City. Like, it's just basically Greek gods. The same shit, different toilet, as I like to say. Thank you for watching this clip. Watch it again.